Will they ever hear from God again? Jerusalem and the temple have been destroyed. So then, does God still exist, since God was to be found only in the temple? Does God continue to honor his covenant commitments to Israel and practice steadfast love through the exile? Can you hear me now, God? God sending the people into exile seems to be that one of power, sinners in the hands of an angry God. But we need to look at what sending Israel into exile meant to God. The prophet Hosea gives voice to God's feeling for having done this. How can I give you up, Ephraim? How can I hand you over, O Israel? How can I make you like Admah? How can I treat you like Zeboim? My heart recoiled within me. My compassion grows warm and tender. I will not execute my fierce anger. I will not again destroy Ephraim. For I am God and no mortal, the Holy One in your midst, and I will not come with wrath. Isn't that gorgeous? Doesn't it break your heart? It broke God's heart to have to discipline Israel, to send her into exile. Can you hear how much this hurt God to discipline his people? Yet we also hear the great restraint God put on himself. I will not totally destroy you. God holds back from all that power that he had, that he could have exercised because of his solidarity with the people that he created. God had good reason to withdraw his faithfulness, but God did not because of his love and goodwill. Now, we have our Old Testament lesson. God is already planning to return Israel to Jerusalem, even while they are still in exile. God must remain faithful to his creation. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will plant the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the offspring of men and animals. The time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. God cannot abandon his people because God has to remain true to God's self. God is a God who is faithful, steadfast, merciful, gracious, righteous, and just, bringing shalom to all. God remains in solidarity with his people. Furthermore, God is going to make sure that this doesn't happen again, his people wandering off to worship other gods. So God makes a new covenant, but it is a different kind of covenant. Before it was just spoken a word to Noah, or it was written on tablets to Moses. But this time, it will be written on the people's hearts. It will be written in indelible ink that they cannot ever erase, that will be with them forever wherever they go. The second unit of Jeremiah is an unqualified announcement of salvation, containing the only explicit Old Testament reference to the New Testament, that is, to the new covenant of Jesus Christ. This is a vision of the future. God says, can you hear me now? You can indeed call on me, and I will hear. But there may be some silences in between. The time is coming, but you do not know when, and really, neither do I know when I'm going to do says with this new covenant, you'll just have to remain faithful. The new covenant means that I am yours and you are mine in a new relationship, a new way of being, a new way of being faithful. You'll just naturally know how to live without thinking about it. Call on me anytime.
Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. When I call, answer me. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Come and listen to me.
But I know that you are wondering about that widow and the judge. Where do they fit into this theme of prayer and God's silences? Today, on this day, we are very nearly to the end of the church year. We just have a few Sundays left, and then I guess it's good news, bad news. We're going to start Advent all over again. We're that far into the year already. All this long time of Pentecost, when this green cloth has been up here, it means green for growth, and it was the growth of God's or Jesus' people and his teachings. All this long Pentecost time, we have heard what Jesus had to say as he went through the countryside those 3 years, teaching and preaching and healing and meeting with people. That's what we have been learning these long Sundays. But now it's time almost to come to the end. And this community to whom Luke is writing, saying, we have waited all this time and we thought Jesus was coming back right after that ascension. We just knew, and he told us he was coming back soon. Now, when is he coming? And it is that new covenant that God gave to Israel. It's the timing is God's timing. You know neither the time nor the season when I will return. Be assured, God is not the judge in this parable. That's made very clear. Jesus makes that very clear. The judge is not God, or God is not the judge, being whimsical about who he gives justice to or not. But as a pardoned judge will finally listen to the poor widow, then how much more will God listen to his people who cry to him day and night? Will the disciples and other believers be found faithful until such time as God chooses to return? Until God chooses to return, that is the crucial question. The silence of God in bringing about the end times must be met with the same faithfulness as they have witnessed in Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. No greater expression of faith in God was shown to the world than Jesus' enduring faith in that great silence on Holy Saturday. Where was God? Would he do what he had said he would do? Prayer is the ultimate illustration of our faith in him as the God of power and the God of solidarity. Which brings us really right back to where we were in the opening phrase and talking about our having to be still and listen for God. By all means, take some time to be alone and see what thy soul doth learn. Enduring faith. God is in control. Jesus is coming again. Keep the faith.
Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. When I call, answer me. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Come and listen to me.
Our hymn of invitation for this morning is There's a Wideness in God's Mercy, just as we have said. Hymn number 74.